Well, just as Chad said, the Senate is going to cause a shutdown. Frankly, Chuck Schumer shut the government down already once this year. We know he's okay with a shutdown, and this could be solved. And just like Nancy Pelosi was wrong when she told the president in the Oval Office, Mr. President, you don't have the votes, she was wrong. We had the votes, and we showed that this week. And I think Senator Schumer's wrong as well. The president is going to find a way to build this wall and secure our country and secure our border.
It's going to take $5 billion. All $5 billion. I mean, might there be any room for compromise in here, like 3.5, 4?
Well, you know, I'm encouraged. I mean, Mike Pence is meeting with people. Mick Mulvaney's in the room. Good things are going to happen. I have great confidence in those two. And I'm encouraged by the dialogue that says we might get a full year funding. We got full year funding on defense, so we're not worried about the troops not getting paid. Yeah. But there are still people that we shouldn't be shutting the government down. There's really no excuse for that. We should have done the right thing in September and hit the deadline on October 1st. But having said that, the nice thing is we're at least having the conversation about doing full year funding instead of just another stopgap measure to February.
Yeah, I suppose that's a positive. You know, the Democrats are going to blame you guys. You guys are going to blame the Democrats. Who do you think the American people will really put the blame at? Because the president, by the way, I should point out, has said, and Chad mentioned this as well, that he's willing to take full responsibility should a shutdown come.
Well, and look, at the end of the day, the president, you know, has been made famous by Harry Truman. The buck stops here. At the end of the day, the president, everything that happens or fails to happen, and he's owned it. But he's also pointed out, as he said in the Oval Office, Chuck, I need 10 votes. And Chuck Schumer could give the 10 votes. There's almost no level of spending Democrats aren't in favor of, but somehow when it's the president's key priority, they magically get restrained on spending.
Yeah, I've been fascinated during this administration to see that, right? All of a sudden, they care about the budget deficits. All of a sudden, they care about national debt loads. And I'm like, wait, when did you all become fiscal conservatives?
Well,
apparently,
rest assured. Yeah, rest assured, if we just do a stopgap measure to February, we'll see in February that there's no fiscal conservatives on the left.
So if you're successful here, the president does get his wall. Do you think, as many have suggested, his political future and the future of the Republican Party is reliant on that wall happening and that wall getting built?
Well, I think the president was wise to make sure that he doesn't stumble into a no new taxes moment. And he needs to deliver on the promises he said. And that's the thing that the American people get. The president, for most of the country, we're very excited to see the president following through and doing exactly what he said. I get that there's a large part of the country that's committed to a resistance movement and obstruction at every turn. So they're not very happy to see him follow through on his promises. The reality is we need to look at what's in the best interest of our country. We have a flourishing economy that has shown some signs of concern. We've got some
and by the way, I don't agree with those signs of concern. I do agree that the market, though, is in a volatile state and will continue to be so for the foreseeable future because people do not exactly have a real roadmap in terms of what's going to happen with trade with China, et cetera, et cetera. So we are in that volatility.
And with the Democrat control of the House. I mean, frankly, you look at all the dynamics coming together here. The rest of the world's economies are faltering. The U.S. has shown real leadership here, and a lot of that credit goes to the White House, but it also goes to historic reform on regulatory and tax reform. Our economy's been booming. We need to keep up with workforce reforms. And I think one of the biggest ones that we got done, it's missing in the news, is this First Step Act was truly bipartisan. It gives a lot more people a second chance, and we can get more people engaged in the workforce and keep our economy growing.